Welcome to the deep dive. You send us the sources, we pull out the key info fast.
Exactly.
So today we're digging into one specific intelligence agency, trying to really get a handle on its history, its structure, and, the impact it's had.
Yeah. And today that agency is the Special Branch, or Kawangan Cause,
Hmm.
part of the Royal Malaysia Police.
Right.
And the material we've got really sheds some light on this, well, pretty significant organization.
Significant, yeah. And maybe one that people don't always fully grasp. So based on our sources, the Special Branch is basically the intelligence arm of the Malaysian police, right?
Uh-huh.
Their job is gathering intel on anything that might be a threat. So internal threats, external ones, subversive stuff, extremism, sabotage, even spying. It's a lot.
It's a very broad mandate, absolutely.
Yeah.
And for you listening, if you want to get up to speed on this agency quickly but still get the important details, well, that's what we're here for.
Consider this your shortcut.
Yeah.
We're just highlighting the crucial bits from the sources you gave us.
Exactly.
Okay, so where do we start? History-wise, it looks like the Special Branch goes back to 1948.
That's the official formation year, yeah.
Yeah.
But it actually grew out of an earlier group, the Malayan Security Service.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of a backstory there.
Okay, and its roots are really in the British colonial period, aren't they?
Definitely. It was modeled pretty closely on the UK's own special branch at the start. You can really see that influence.
But it evolved, obviously, into a major Malaysian intelligence agency.
It did. And a really key time for them was the communist insurgency. That was a long period, 1948 right through to 1989.
Wow, decades. And the Special
Yeah.
Branch was right in the thick of it, yeah. Counterinsurgency against the Communist Party of Malaya, the PKM.
Deeply involved. And according to these sources, they had some pretty remarkable successes during what's called the Malayan Emergency.
Like what?
Well, they managed to infiltrate the MCP's command structure successfully.
Really?
Yeah, and there's even a claim here about a double agent getting to a really senior rank within the party.
That's serious infiltration, like spy novel stuff.
It sounds like it, doesn't it? And apparently their tactics, things like infiltration and espionage, they were seen as so effective that other intelligence agencies actually sent people to their training center in KL.
To learn from them.
Yeah, to learn their methods, which says a lot about how they were viewed back then.
It does. And the sources also mention this Asianization process.
Right, where British officers were gradually phased out and replaced by locally trained Malaysian personnel.
Which must have changed the agency's perspective and approach over time.
You'd assume so, yeah. It's a significant shift.
We should also probably mention the second Malayan emergency, roughly 1970 to 1990.
Good point. While the first emergency often gets more focus, the Special Branch obviously kept operating through that later period too, adapting its intelligence work.
So how is it actually set up structure-wise, especially during that, say, 1970s, 1980s period?
Okay, yeah. During that time, it was organized into these specialized units. They called them the E-units.
E-units, right. So E1, that was communism. Makes sense, given the insurgency.
Exactly. E1 was all about counterinsurgency against the PKM. That meant things like anti-intelligence, basically countering the PKM's own intel gathering.
Okay.
Plus handling surrendered communists, SEPs they call them, and really importantly, analyzing captured documents, figuring out strategies, plans.
Got it. Then E2 was extremism. That sounds a bit broader.
It was. E2 monitored, any extreme group seen as the threat. Could be left-wing labor movements, mass movements, certain political parties, even student groups.
So tracking quite a diverse range of activity.
A very wide net.
Okay. E3, logistics. That sounds like support.
That's right. Technical support mostly. Monitoring gear, general logistics for operations, managing the tech admin side. Kind of the behind-the-scenes stuff, but essential.
Makes sense. E4, external communism. This must have been big during the Cold War.
Oh, definitely. E4 kept tabs on potential foreign communist influence. So watching parties in Indonesia, Thailand, Vietnam, but also the big players like China and the Soviet Union.
And they also handled diplomatic security.
Yeah, placing security attachés in Malaysian embassies abroad. So an international dimension, too.
Okay. E5, security. Sounds practical.
Very. Entry and exit points, airports, borders, passport control, travel rules, and VIP protection, both for Malaysian figures and visiting dignitaries.
Right. And E6, it's listed as administration, but the description sounds more operational.
The catch. Yeah, despite the name, E6 was involved in identifying PKM operational areas like their strongholds, training camps, identifying key people, commanders, committee members, and also managing the money, operations, and weapons for the branch's own initiative. So yeah, much more operational than just admin.
Interesting. Lastly, E7 terrorism. It's notable that was separate even during the communist focus.
It is. E7 was specifically for preventing terrorism or violent groups that weren't communist.
So they were looking beyond just the PKM.
Seems so. A broader view of potential threats even back then.
Okay, so a very compartmentalized structure. Let's shift gears now to some specific events or incidents that the sources highlight. The Anwar Ibrahim scandal in 1998 definitely stands out.
It really does. During his trial for sodomy and corruption, statements from special branch officials, well, they got a lot of attention.
Yeah, there was the claim that Anwar himself told SB officials to get retractions of the sodomy allegations.
Right, but then those officials testified that they actually thought the charges were made up, fabricated by Anwar's political enemies.
Which just shows how tangled up in politics things could get.
Absolutely. And the director at the time, Mohammed Said bin Awang, and his deputy, Amir bin Junis, they were key figures in this testimony.
Didn't one witness say Mohammed Syed advised Anwar to let the SB investigate rather than try to quash it?
That was part of the testimony, yes. It adds another layer.
And Mohammed Syed talked about this turning over operation. What exactly was that? It sounded quite murky.
It did. He called it a great secret. But essentially, it seemed to be a way to quickly assess someone and figure out how to neutralize their stance if they were seen as a security threat, especially a political one.
Neutralize how, though?
Well, his explanation was deliberately vague, left a lot unsaid.
And then there was that moment in court where he was asked if he'd lie if someone higher up ordered him to.
Yeah, that was quite something. His first answer was, depends on the situation. Then when pushed, I may or I may not.
Which certainly raises flags about potential pressure or influence, doesn't it?
It does. It hints at that complex interface between intelligence work and politics.
Another angle comes from Raja Petrakamardan, the blogger detained under the ISA.
Right. He talked about being, well, astonished at how much the special branch seemed to know about him.
Yeah.
Their surveillance.
Like they were everywhere.
That's the impression he gave, suggesting a really extensive intelligence gathering capability, almost intrusive from his perspective. He even wondered about photos from, very private situations.
Wow. And he also claimed they'd infiltrated political parties.
Yeah, several political parties, he claimed, which, if true, underlines the potential reach of their operations.
Okay, moving to something more concrete. The arrest of Maslamat Gastari in 2008.
Yes, the Jamaah Islamiyah leader from Singapore. Big deal when he escaped from that high-security facility there.
Huge embarrassment for Singapore. And he was eventually caught in Malaysia.
That's right, in Johor, near Skudai. Kampung Tawakal. There's a joint operations special branch working with the UTK, the counter-terrorist unit.
And the arrest itself sounds pretty intense.
Apparently, yeah. The UTK stormed the house because he wouldn't surrender. They found him, got him into custody, and also seized JI documents, plans.
But the UTK involvement wasn't made public at the time.
No. The sources say that was kept quiet, maybe for operational security. The public credit went just to the special branch.
Interesting. Highlights the secrecy often involved.
Definitely.
And then, more recently, and quite seriously, there's the 2019 Suhakam inquiry.
Yes, the Human Rights Commission of Malaysia. Their conclusion was pretty stark.
They found special branch agents responsible for the abductions of Amri Mat and Raymond Koh.
In 2016 and 2017, respectively. These are findings of unlawful enforced disappearances. Very serious stuff.
Absolutely. Huge implications for trust for the agency's image.
It's a really sobering point in their history, highlighting the potential for things to go very wrong.
Okay, let's try and bring some of this together. A more sort of current overview. It's a national agency, part of the Royal Malaysia Police, under government authority.
Correct. The legal basis is the Police Act 1967, Sections 3.3 and 23, and it's designated as a civilian police entity.
Overseen by the Ministry of Home Affairs, HQ at Bukit Aman.
The minister responsible, as of the sources, is Saifuddin Nasution Ismail. And the director, back in September 2022 anyway, was CP Datos Sri Khalid bin Ismail.
Obviously, leadership can change, but that gives us a fairly recent snapshot.
Right. And the core function remains analyzing situations, providing intelligence and advice to other departments, other agencies.
That central analysis role.
Yeah, and interestingly, the sources mentioned they even helped reform the Thai Special Branch at one point.
Suggests a certain level of recognized expertise, maybe?
Perhaps, extending beyond Malaysia's borders.
But we also have to circle back to those serious accusations from Suhakam about enforced disappearances.
Absolutely. Can't ignore that. It's a critical part of the agency's story and the controversies surrounding it.
It really underscores the tension, doesn't it, between national security needs and protecting individual rights.
That's the core dilemma for many intelligence agencies, isn't it?
Okay, so let's recap this deep dive. We've looked at the Special Branch's long history, how it started in the colonial era, its big role in counterinsurgency,
Uh-huh. We went through its structure, those specialized E-units tackling different threats.
and we touched on some major events, the communist era, the Anwar scandal, catching Mas Salamat.
And also those very serious Suhakam findings.
Right. So a mix of operational successes and, well, deep controversies.
Exactly. Hopefully, for you listening, this has pulled together the key threads from the sources, giving you that solid overview we aimed for.
And maybe it leaves us with a final thought to chew on. When you look at this history, the counterinsurgency wins alongside these really troubling accusations. What does it tell us about the inherent challenges for agencies like this?
That balancing act you mentioned, security versus rights, it's incredibly difficult terrain to navigate.
How do agencies maintain security without crossing lines, and what does accountability look like?
It makes you think about the role of intelligence agencies in a democracy, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
The need for oversight, for transparency, even when secrecy seems essential. Something to definitely ponder.
Indeed. Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive.